Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing? Coming on here, I was like a little perturbed when I left the house because these individuals, I guess they're hired workers, cleaners that clean in the complex. They were cleaning the vestibule because there's like 2 apartments to each building, and they were cleaning out the hallways, and they were supposedly vacuuming the rugs. Why they have to use these strong synthetic scented cleaners to vacuum the rug is beyond me, but I hate it because I do not use scented cleaning or other products. These are synthetic products because they're very bad for your endocrine system. And I have half thyroid, so I'm trying to keep my other half, thank you. And they can affect your thyroid, your reproductive organs, your reproductive system, and a whole host of things those things can do. A lot of people now, they're wearing synthetic perfumes and all of this stuff and not realizing that it's very bad for your health. And you know, just as a health coach, I have to study a lot and I read a lot, and so sometimes you may have information that the general public may not be aware of. And that's one thing, is that these scented laundry detergents, all of this stuff is just so bad for your endocrine system. And so when I came out, the hallway was just, and it's hot, so it's all in there with the heat, and they have a window but it's closed and it's up high, so you can't open it, and the hall is just enmeshed with this scented stuff. And then when you come out the building, you smell like the stuff. You're in the car, or half the day you're smelling like this stuff. And I just need to get that off my chest. But it kind of correlates to what I wanted to talk about, because I posted my lunch yesterday, which just to highlight that it was an oil-free lunch, because I don't usually use oil when I'm cooking. And I made the chickpea tuna salad with the cashew mayo. Then, I made a bunch of mayo, but it's just a couple of tablespoons to get that consistency of tuna. And then I had the roasted potatoes with no oil. I usually, when I did oil, I usually boil it a little bit so it doesn't have to stay as long in the oven. And so I boiled them, and then I didn't even add any broth or anything. Sometimes you can add broth when you're roasting vegetables so they can be moist, and so the seasoning will adhere to the vegetable or whatever you're roasting. And that's the way you can eat oil-free roasted vegetables. So I didn't even do that. I just seasoned them really well and I put them on a parchment paper and I roasted them. And just to highlight that you can eat foods that are not saturated with oil and fat, and they can be really delicious and beneficial to your health, especially if you're dealing with diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and you're trying to clear those arteries or clear those cells that's blocked up because your insulin can't get the sugar into your cells because they're blocked up with all that fat. People think it's the sugar that's the problem, but it's the fat. It's like a lock that's gummed, and the key can't turn. The insulin is the key. It can't get in there. They let that sugar in there to give you that energy source. So it just floods back into your system, flows into your blood system and stream, and there you have your become insulin resistant. But when you eliminate those oils and all that fat out of your diet, it makes you become more insulin sensitive. So just showing you how you can eat oil-free, and it can still be really delicious, because that stuff was really delicious, what I made yesterday. And it also just want to highlight that, because of the scented thing I talked about in the beginning, that maintaining optimal health is not just about eating plant-based, whole food plant-based. That's not the cure-all to everything, because it's great. It's one of the major components to keep your body healthy, and it can really help to prevent chronic disease, to eliminate chronic disease, or to manage chronic disease. A whole food plant-based diet is one of the major protocols that can help you with that, along with exercise, getting enough rest. But it's even more than that. Social connections are so important. Our spirit, we've been created with a spiritual need. Our spirituality is so important. Having a purpose in life is important. A whole range of different things that will optimize your health and help your longevity and help you to have a quality life. There's more than just eating a whole food plant-based diet, because you can still get sick on a whole food plant-based diet, develop serious disease, because sometimes you're eating well. Like I said, sometimes you're chronically stressed. You can eat well and be chronically stressed and develop a chronic health issue. You can be exposed to chemicals or something in the environment that will cause you to develop a disease. So it's not like, oh, you're whole food plant-based and so everything's fine. No, but it helps to enhance your quality of life. Like with my situation, when I realized that, the way I was eating, I was telling you about how moving here was kind of challenging, and it kind of affected my diet and my exercise routine. But now I'm back to working out, not at home, but before I used to work out 5 days a week. Now I'm like, when I came over here, trying to find some place to live with relatives, I was not eating as clean as I was before. I was eating like a lot of popcorn, eating chips or tortilla chips and dips and stuff like that, and I was eating more white rice than I used, because white rice, once you optimize your health, you're not going to be eating all this stuff all the time, but occasionally I would have some white rice. But I found I was eating more white rice than usual. I was eating a lot of vegan mayo because I was making a lot of sandwiches with, Whole Foods, of course. I was making a lot of sandwiches, a lot of vegan mayo. So there's a lot of oils. And just occasionally I'd have a vegan ice cream or a vegan brownie. And so I was eating a lot of stuff that I wouldn't eat so much of. And so that could be related to my number rising a little bit, because I had went to the doctor earlier in the year and my number was not pre-diabetic, but it was rising, and I want to keep it low. And so those things I feel was contributing to my reason why my numbers may have been rising. Also, the stress could have been a factor. Like I said, the environment, like where I'm living, or living with my cousin, like things that you're being exposed to can have an effect on your health, because those synthetic fragrances and stuff, they affect your endocrine system and your hormones, and it can cause you to hold on to weight and things like that. So just to say that a whole food diet is not the end all to all things. It's not the miraculous cure, but it can help you have a better quality of life. Say I would have kept eating that way and not addressed it, I could be worse off now than the way I was feeling then. I could be worse off, and or you could have a chronic disease, and you're still eating what you're eating, and so you still worse. Whereas if you went to a whole food plant-based diet, maybe that chronic illness you have, changing your diet could maybe add 10 more years to your life. I know it can make you feel better. So, that's the purpose of eating a whole food plant-based diet. You don't want to have to keep taking medications, injecting yourself, feeling tired, lethargic, being overweight, and just not feeling yourself, because you can't show up the way you want to. You can't show up for whatever your purpose is in life, your assignment. You can't show up for your family or your friends the way you want to. But just changing your diet and eating a lot of whole foods, and like you see it everywhere in the science and the magazines, that eating fruits and vegetables and raw plants, it can really help to improve and increase your health and your lifespan. So it's not that it's everything to all things, okay? You got to be realistic, and there's a whole lot of other lifestyle changes that are necessary, but it is a great way to help to optimize your health. And if you are struggling in some way with your health, chronic stress, chronic disease, and you need that kind of support, especially caregivers, they deal with a lot of chronic stress, and they may even be trying to eat healthy and everything, but they still sick. So if you need that kind of support and help, please contact us. The contact information is in the description. We'd love to help you and to optimize your health and feel better. And so that's what I wanted to say today, and you guys have an amazing day on purpose.